Hi everyone, it's Michaela. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Michaela and I'm the owner of Michaela Made, a small business that sells art prints, stickers, and risograph prints. So today I wanted to make this video because we're at the end of the year and I was really inspired by Stationery and some of my other stationery YouTubers that I follow, sharing their planner lineups. And I know that this is technically an art channel, but I feel like you'll get to kind of see a little bit into my creative brain. I don't do a ton of sketching, but I do like to do a lot of kind of creative collecting. And so I wanted to share sort of my planner lineup that I had done in 2024 and then what I'm planning on using in 2025. I am getting over a little bit of a cold. Believe it or not, I actually sounded worse than this and I'm actually sounding way better. I actually had no voice going into this last market this weekend and I was trying to say some stuff, but nothing came out. And so we are actually off to a good start. I am deeming this as a win, so please bear with me. Hopefully it's not too distracting, but I just wanted to let y'all know that I am getting better and I'll be trying to take breaks in between. But with all the disclaimers out of the way, let's get into the video. So here's my official stack for 2024 and it is quite massive. I feel like it really ended up coming into a process of figuring out what was working for me and figuring out what wasn't, and kind of how I went through a lot of evolutions on how I wanted to plan throughout the year. So I'll definitely talk through that. This is definitely a combination of my day-to-day planner and then my journaling. And so just because I was using different notebooks for journaling versus for planning. And so I definitely wanted to talk through that. So I'm gonna take y'all through the process of sort of my journey with my planning for 2024. And I'm starting off with the planner that I bought on Mochigrams. And this planner, I feel like started off, I started really optimistically because it also started early in the year. It gave me November and December, I believe, going into the year. And so I was able to start getting into it right away. And usually when I buy my planner, I actually start shopping for planners all the way in October. And so it allowed me to go ahead and start playing around with the layout. And what I really liked about this layout when I first started was that I could kind of do tasks and then I could kind of do brain dumps. And I feel like that's sort of an iteration of what I ended up doing for the rest of the year, if we're kind of prefacing how my planning style evolved. But I think what ended up happening was I kind of got, whatever you want to call, grass is greener on the other side, and I definitely wanted to try and play around with some other planners too. And I think what ended up happening was I ended up buying another planner and I wanted to try that one out a little bit more because I liked the layout a little bit more. I also liked the paper better because it was really different and it was something I hadn't tried before, which was the Tomoe River paper. And this was just regular paper. It's thick enough. I like that it doesn't have too much ghosting or bleeding. So that was really nice. And then I also liked that, again, this was really clean up here for tasks, and I liked that it had the month and it gave me a lot of space to kind of write or doodle or brainstorm. And then I went ahead and added these little tabs that included the month, and I just ended up buying them as tabs from Mochigrams because this from my understanding is a Korean planner. And so what I ended up doing was going through this till about December, and then I fell off. So once January, February hit, I no longer was using this planner. So I'm really sad that this ended up kind of going to waste. The rest of it did. This had a lot of gridded notes in the back, and that was really nice too. And I liked that it kind of had a case. I wasn't really a fan of the cover. It also had a really nice pin loop that I didn't end up using. But I liked the color too. I liked the color a lot. It was a really cute lavender color. And I liked the size because it was about an A5 size, I believe. It's a little bit smaller than it. But I think just because the paper was okay, the colors were kind of coming out a little dark, I guess. So I think there were just a couple things that I wasn't quite satisfied with that I was wanting to try out with other planners. And so this one ended up just being my planner for the first couple weeks. The other kind of extra planner that I'm not gonna show was the Hobonichi Weeks, and I got it as a lavender because I wanted to try it out and see kind of how it felt, how the size was, because I never owned one. But I ended up quickly giving that one to my husband, and so now he had a purple planner the whole rest of the year, but it actually ended up working really well for him. I found I actually needed a little bit more space, and so this was really great to just be able to just try some stuff out and kind of see what was working for me. Okay, so not to keep you on suspense for too long, the next planner that I did end up getting for the rest of the year that I did end up using was the Common Planner by Sterling Ink, and I really, really loved this planner. I loved the size of it, the black leather was really nice, and just the paper itself was just really awesome. The monthly was nice. I kind of started doing monthlies, but I didn't end up using it as often as I thought I was going to use it as much. So I feel like the monthlies for me, I needed like a little bit more space to be able to see it, and I just don't look at it that often. So I think that was the other learning that I found was I don't look at the monthlies as often in a planner. I need to just like see it on the wall, and we'll get to that. But yeah, for weekly, I really loved the weekly spread because I feel like it just gave me more space. It was a little bit more freeform, and it wasn't like really restricted and gridded. So I think that was what I really liked about Sterling and Ink, and I think I just liked how clean it was. There is a lot more ghosting, but I felt like everything like wrote really, really smoothly, and I loved the paper. I actually really liked how thin the paper was, even though a lot of people don't quite like the thin Bible paper. It worked really well for me. It was really inspiring and exciting to write most of the time, so I really had a lot of fun with it. And then what I enjoyed doing a lot was doing a lot of like note taking in the back. So I had a lot of fun with like just brainstorming and note taking, because again, the colors showed up really clearly for this planner, and so I really had a lot of fun just like planning and like doing a lot of like goals and reflecting and stuff in the back. And then for my weeklies, I kind of again went through sort of a evolution, and so here you'll see that I was trying to kind of do tracking for what kind of things I was doing throughout the day. So I was trying to do like day tracking like by the hour, and for me that ended up being kind of helpful, seeing like how long I was spending on certain tasks. But in another sense, it also felt kind of like, oh, if I didn't get that task done, then I felt like I wasted so much time, and I wasn't very consistent at keeping up with like the different types of tasks. So sometimes I would switch back and forth between tasks. I might check email, then I might post a video because I'm already on my phone. And so I felt like this was not quite helpful. It wasn't as accurate as I wanted it to. I also tried to do like priorities for my top 3 priorities for the day. And again, it started to become a little too ambitious in terms of like, if I didn't meet that priority, it would just get carried over to the next day. That wasn't making me feel motivated to get things done. I know I also tried a couple digital tools, which I won't really talk about in this video, but I tried Motion at one point, and I also was trying to kind of keep up with Notion. Motion was more like AI powered, so it would like start to fill out your tasks for you. And Notion was a little more sandboxy freeform, but I still hadn't quite figured out how to create tasks in Notion that worked for me. So a paper planner always is the best option because I'm able to just write it down, and I have that immediate satisfaction to be able to check it off. That was what has worked in the past, and so I'm definitely sticking with that. The next kind of approach I ended up doing was just doing top priorities, and then I just sort of made more of a list of the things that I completed as I went. And I feel like that kind of, again, shows up as an iteration of what I ended up doing, because again, I wasn't really working a 9 to 5, and so everything was very organic. I had most of the time. If I had like an appointment or something scheduled, I would usually have that in around this time that I needed. And then everything else is blocked. But I didn't really do any more kind of like time blocking and stuff like I was trying to do. This other iteration that I wanted to share was sort of me trying to divide and do kind of a brain dump, sort of like how you saw in the initial planner. But instead, I would do the brain dump at the top and then do kind of like the tasks that I completed on the bottom. And because the items might change, I was taping in sticky notes instead. So then I'd be able to move it around if I had to push it back. So I felt like that was kind of a nice middle ground to be able to stay flexible, but then I also found myself still pushing things back. And so I didn't really feel like that was completely helping as much. The other thing I'll go ahead and introduce is that I had this appointed notebook where I did a lot of brain dumping in, and it would just be like just a big brain dump list. And then I would categorize it here just so I could like have it in my brain and then schedule it. But what ended up happening was it was just too many notebooks and I was having to rewrite things too many times. So I ended up just moving this brain dump to the top within the same planner. That's been kind of my system going into like this like most recent week and stuff. And so this has been one of the more recent weeks where I, instead of doing like a little highlighter divider, I started doing washi tape, which actually has been making my weeks more fun and more enjoyable to look at each week, because I'll like change the washi tape into different things. And then I've gotten more into stickers and stuff, and that's like really helped kind of make the week more fun and more motivating. The other thing I've been doing is categorizing, going back to kind of the colors that I was doing at the beginning, where I was like blocking the different like types of colors. So pink was supposed to be kind of like admin work, yellow was like creative work, and then I had like things that I absolutely had to get done content wise, or email I had to send were like blue or green. And so I feel like that's kind of how that has been translating recently. And so all my brain dumping is now on the top row. I kind of like that it's at the top, so I kind of limit myself to how much I sort of take on in a week. And then the rest of the time it has been more like list tracking. So instead of like putting it as a task list like I had to do, I put it as I already did do. And I liked that better because it gave me a list of things that I like accomplished throughout the day, and then seeing what I accomplished throughout the week instead of seeing all the things that I didn't accomplish. But yeah, I really like this system. I think all of my appointments ended up going up to the top of the row, and so it wasn't really structured in terms of in the day, because usually I only have like 1 or 2 appointments, including my shift. Because I started a part-time job this past like winter, I have been needing to kind of include my work schedule. So I'm still trying to figure out a good system for that. But so far, because it's only like once a day that I have my shift, I'll usually just put my shift time on my planner, and then I just like know to show up at that point. I don't necessarily know if I need to time block, but we're still kind of figuring that out. But yeah, I think otherwise, I really liked the common planner. I do think I want to return to this. Probably if I don't end up liking the planner system that I did this year, I'll probably end up returning to common planner, because I feel like she did a really good job designing it, making it a really good size. It does typically stay on my desk. I don't typically carry it around, but it is small enough to like put in a bag. So that was the other thing that I really liked about it. The other thing that I'll point out is I did also include the tabs on the sides. I feel bad because I purchased tabs for next year as well, but I don't think I really like using them, because I don't actually like flip to March and then like need to see March. I typically will like just flip through it and then find the page that I was on and just keep going from there, because it's either like filled in or it's not filled in. So even though the tabs are a nice idea, I think Travelers does it where the tabs are on the top, and I like that better because it doesn't get so beat up on the sides and if it gets banged around. So I feel like that's my one thing with like divider tabs. And then I'm already in the book so much, I just will flip to the page that I'm looking for. I don't necessarily need the reminder tabs. So I think that is something that I'm figuring out about this type of planner system for sure. I ended up purchasing this monthly calendar, this Rifle Paper Co. calendar, around the summertime, because I had a friend who ended up using this calendar on her fridge, and I really liked how much more space it gave to write appointments out. And it also was just really clean, and I was able to kind of look at the actual calendar and see it every day and be able to kind of see and track what was going on. I kind of liked it being able to look at it at a glance. I do think I'm not using it as often as I'd like to, because once you get to kind of like I don't know, like we went to Japan in September, and so I got kind of bad about crossing the days off. So I don't think I'm gonna cross the days off anymore, just because I'm just not always good at like doing every day, and then I feel bad if I miss a day. I do still like having a wall calendar because I think it is nice to be able to look at it at a glance. I think just wall calendars are kind of a fun little like wall decor thing, and you can change it out every month and there's something fun about it. It's nice to just be able to see when certain things are coming up throughout the month. And I have a little more room to write, but I can still like glance at it and then work through my weekly and my physical planner. The next couple things that I was using in 2024 are my journals and my sketchbook. And so I did mention that I don't do sketches in my planners, but I do have a dedicated sketchbook that I do enjoy drawing in. The journal that I've been using has been a Rifle Paper Co. one, and I'm honestly not that big of a fan of Rifle Paper Co. I think I've tried out their stuff and sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't work for me. But for this one, it's a journal, and I felt like I was really good with like writing in my journal in the past, and then I did do a little bit, it got a little more chaotic because I felt too committed to write all the way through. And then I was like, well, maybe I can use it as a sketchbook, but I didn't quite like the lines going into my drawings. So I feel like that was my thing with this journal. I do really like a spiral. I will point out that I like the spiral. I like the perforated pages. I think there's something really nice about it. I think they make really nice like sets and stationery of paper. But that's about where it ends with what I like about Rifle Paper, with this Rifle Paper Co. journal specifically. There's still plenty of stuff like Rifle Paper products that I haven't tried yet, so maybe I'll find something that works for me. But for right now, like I think my thing with this journal is that the lines are too thin, are too spaced too close together, and so it does give you a lot of space to write, but it also is a lot of space to write. And I think I kind of want a little more free form and a little bit wider spacing for it. And so I just didn't quite like the design of it. I just didn't feel like it was as thought through for my preferences as I would have liked. The rounded corners are a nice touch. And so I think that's kind of why I stopped using this as a journal. And so I still have a lot of blank pages left. So I'm still trying to figure out how to finish out this journal. But that was what I was using for journaling at night. And I do use it for journaling. And so I really liked it for that purpose. The next one that I have probably been using the most recently is this Ramona and Ruth gratitude journal. And what was interesting is in the past I've used gratitude journals. I feel like sometimes I get tired or I run out of things that I'm grateful for, and I would rather just like track my day or talk about like highlights of my day. And so I think that was what I ended up doing. Was I've just been like sometimes I'll write down what I'm grateful for, and other times I'll like cross out the 1, 2, 3, and then just write kind of what I did in my day. But it's still like low pressure. There's a lot of space. The lines are spaced better, like much wider. So I actually really like that a lot better. And then you can put a date there. So it's like very simple, straight to the point. It does allow for a little bit of flexibility if I do feel like I had a lot going on that day. And then I did kind of like that it was undated, so I could just kind of keep going if I missed a day. So I didn't feel bad if I missed a day. And I like the spiral. The paper actually for this journal is really, really nice. It writes very smoothly, and I've been using this 0.3 platinum preppy pen, and it just writes so smoothly. This pen writes very smoothly on this paper, and this paper is just great. If I could just have a journal with this paper, I'd be in heaven. And I think they have a top folding notepad that I might get maybe next year, like for a future journaling once I finish with the journals that I currently have. But yeah, I have enjoyed this one, but I think I'm wanting to try maybe something different because I'm not in love with it. I think I just don't like that it always tells me like what I'm grateful for, and it's not kind of how I want to be journaling. And so maybe I'll try and finish this one out and then move on to another type of journal that doesn't say that, because the prompt isn't always necessarily what I want to write about. So it's just a little detail, but it's not too crazy or cumbersome to switch something up. So the last little stationery book journal sketchbook that I've been using this year is my Archer and Olive Papercraft Pantry collab notebook. So I actually really love this notebook and journal, and I always reference it as like a Miles Finch notebook. Miles Finch is that character in Elf that I'm forgetting the actor's name. Okay, we're gonna Google it because it's gonna really bug me. I know his name. He was literally in Wicked. It's Peter Dinklage. Yes, I'm so glad we figured that out. So Miles Finch is the character that Peter Dinklage plays, and he basically has like all of these ideas that he keeps it all in one notebook. And I really loved that. I could just carry this notebook around, and whenever I have an idea, I would just put it in this notebook. And I know that that's pretty much the purpose of a sketchbook, but I don't know why I just ended up like not carrying a consistent one around. I would always just kind of like keep a little scratch of paper or something like that. So this has been like my dedicated notebook. The thing is I sometimes get scared to draw on it, and sometimes I also get scared to look back at it because I'm just like, oh, all these ideas were ugly. And so I think the exciting thing is also there are a lot of good ideas, and I'm kind of like, oh, like what was that series that I like started sketching something on, and then I needed to come back to it, and I was like, oh yes, this was what I had, and it was all in one spot. So there are a lot of great ideas and opportunities to use this notebook, and so I will be taking this into 2025 because I'm still going through it, but it's actually been really great. The paper is really thick, and it takes to pencil, it takes to pen, it takes to marker, it takes to paint really, really well. So I feel like this has been a really, really well-designed notebook, and it also has a pocket on the back. So it's just been very thoughtfully designed, and I've also been collecting stamps sometimes if I am in the area and I forget to bring my travelers or anything like that. But yeah, it's just been a great little sketchbook. I like that it's not a spiral for this specifically, because I like that it's like a book form. That's good to know about myself. But yeah, this has worked really well. I would give this 5 stars if you're ranking all of the notebooks and planners that I've been doing this year. So yeah, this has worked really well, and I definitely would recommend trying out an Archer and Olive notebook if you're not already on the train. If you are, then I am definitely talking to the choir here. All right, so what y'all all been waiting for is my lineup for 2025, and it looks like this. So I feel like it looks very similar in the sense that of height and the amount of planners that I'm gonna try out. But hopefully, I think it's all new brands and things that I'm wanting to try out. So the very first one that I think I'm gonna go ahead and show is the main one that I got, which was the Hemlock and Oak 2025 weekly. And I am a product of advertising, or result of advertising, whatever you want to call it. And I ended up purchasing this because I got an ad on Instagram. But I loved that it has a lot of like breakdown, and I went ahead and I've already gone ahead and like started filling it out. The paper smells kind of interesting. It smells very inky. I'm not really a fan of like the sharp corners, but it has like really, really beautiful binding, and the paper's been really nice and thick. So I think it does well with fountain pens, which I'm looking forward to. And it does these different like January reviews and golds, and then it goes into the weeklies. And so I really like the weekly calendars. I like that it has a lot of space. It's very minimal, similar to Sterling ink. You can set like appointments, or like if it's holidays or something, that I can put up here. And then I might still do like my dividing my week and still brain dumping in here, because I do still like to see my brain dump all in one spot. And then I think the thing that I'm a little concerned about is it doesn't have a huge notes section in the back. I think this is about how many notes, like note pages I have in the back. So that's not super great, because I do like to brainstorm a lot in the back sometimes, and I like keeping everything together. But I did like, I mentioned they have like little recaps. And so maybe if I have just kind of like a thought that month, then I'll start with the monthly overview and then kind of go from there. And then, yeah, it does have monthly. I think the monthlies do start each month, so that's kind of nice too, instead of them all being in the front. And then it also has little like quarterly reviews. So I'm kind of excited, kind of nervous about how I'll react to this planner. Here's the monthly. The monthly, again, it has like a good amount of space. You can write a lot of goals and stuff. I personally think I'm not going to use the monthly this year because I just don't want to put that pressure on myself on filling out like multiple monthly calendars when I know I'm just going to use this as a weekly. So that's kind of the plan for this specific planner. I'm kind of excited. I think, like I had mentioned, one second. I had gone ahead and purchased the divider pack for this planner, and I just don't know if I'm gonna use the tabs because I like how clean the edges are already, and I just don't think I'm gonna end up using the tabs that often to navigate back and forth through the months. And I also don't really use the page markers that often. I typically feel like they get in the way. And they're kind of long, to be honest. Like, I feel like these are quite long, so I might end up clipping them. That sounds really bad and terrible, but I just think they'll end up getting in the way of the book. And so I do really like the sealing band that the Archer and Olive had. So I actually probably would have preferred a sealing band instead of something like this, but we'll see how it goes. I'll give it maybe a month to see if I end up using this or not using this. And I guess I can always like put it away if I like keep it in the back if I don't like it. But my cats already like to mess with these. So I just feel like it just adds to like something that they can chew on, that they can destroy. So that's kind of my other thought and motivation for not having some of the extra things, and we're just gonna keep it simple. We're gonna try and keep it as a book, and I'm looking forward to trying this out with my system, and yeah, we'll just see. So the next planner that I have in my lineup is this Traveler's size. I wanted to be able to still use my Traveler's passport size. Inside is the Common Planner full year passport size notebook, and this was actually the first planner that I ended up purchasing this year, and the Hemlock and Oak was the second one that I ended up purchasing. So we already have an extra planner this year that I kind of have to figure out how to use. I think what my plan is for this is to end up tracking my shifts and for my part-time job, and tracking the things that I end up doing on my shift. If I have like little tasks that I have to complete, I want to be able to have a place to track it and still be able to like carry something around small, because we can't really carry around a lot of things at the shop that I work at. I work at a stationery store, which feels fitting, but there's usually a lot to do around there, and I can't have like too much laying around. So I like that it's compact. I could keep it out of the way, but I can still have a place to like write notes and write down tasks that I have to do each day throughout the week. And if I have a weekend shift, I can include the weekends as well. Or if I'm out of town, I can include that as well. So I feel like this will be nice just to take along with me. And Travelers is built to travel, so I like that as well, to be able to do that. And then it also has notes in it. So what might end up happening is I might end up taking this out of the travel, even though I like this as a traveler's case. It's kind of still a bit bulky for what I need it, and the book itself is quite just compact, and that's really all I need is just the book. And then if I need extra pages in the back for notes, this is all just notes. So it's just a small little planner that I can literally slip into my bag and keep track of the days and the things that I'm working on that day. So I'll show this. So this was kind of like my trial to see how this translates, like my list making translates to this layout, and it wasn't too bad actually. It was pretty compact, and I did have to write a little smaller, but it actually wasn't too crazy. And I liked hearing one of the employees at Yoseka talk about how, again, because the space is small, it limits you to the amount of stuff that you are allowed to include in your day. So that kind of helps budget, so you're not like over scheduling yourself or overbooking yourself. So there's something nice about that I kind of want to try and implement into next year. So the thought is to use as a work planner. So we'll see how that goes. This is probably the third planner that I ended up buying that I'm gonna try a couple different things, is the Hours Research Project Weekly Journal. This has been very trendy within the stationery community, and I really just loved the layout of it. It's just a gorgeous little planner, and they have all the months at the beginning. And then the weeks are just really pretty. Like, it's so clean, it's so spread out. It doesn't give me a lot of space to brain dump. My hope and my thought was to use this as a documentation of my day. So kind of like my daily journal that I would write in, and if I had extra space or I miss a day, I can kind of bleed into the next day. I really liked when we were traveling in Japan and I kind of talked through, or I did like little bullet lists of what I did in the day, and then I included little pictures that I would add later, and it would be kind of like a little scrapbooking memory book. And so I like this as a memory journal to be able to just reflect on the day. And I like that, again, that it doesn't say gratitude on here, and that it could be a little bit more scrapbooky and artsy. So there's something really nice and really calming about this, where I can really showcase like some fun creative moments, and there's something inspiring about it that I'm excited about. So I think that's what I'm going to end up using it for. It also has some like little prompt things in the back where you can do keep like info cards, you can keep recipes, and then it also has, I think, yeah, you can do just some free note writing and stuff. It doesn't have too much for like note taking, and then you can also do like, it looks like this kind of looks like ink, like places I think someone had said like to use it. Someone had said you can use this for ink swatches, so that was like cool to hear, because I did buy quite a few fountain pen inks, and then this is for contacts. So I just like how this is designed. It's very artsy, but it's a really pretty journal at the same time, and planner. So I know that it's dated, so it does kind of give me the pressure to have to work on it throughout the year, but I kind of like it as memory keeping, because I feel like sometimes I don't keep my days like value or make my days feel precious or interesting, and this I feel like kind of helps do that. And so I'm kind of excited to hopefully keep this by my bedside table and do some like quick journaling. And it's not a lot of high pressure journaling, so that's good too. But yeah, this was definitely really cute. So I'm definitely excited to use this as my journal for next year. And the other little calendar thing, it's definitely not a planner, it's more of a calendar, is the Eric Small Things little desk calendar. And it's really cute. I did get this in Japan. I love that each one has like a little, whatever you want to call, like doodle or image. I do kind of like this maybe for like a doodle a day, but I think I'll probably use this as more of like a notepad, because I'm really bad at, again, keeping track of the days and writing something every day. But I do like that I can kind of look at the day each day and I can tear something off. And I do have, and I do typically keep like a pad of sticky notes next to me. So this is about the size of a sticky note, and I always write out my like to-dos for the next day, right before I go to bed. So this is kind of nice to put like tasks and to-dos on. And I might just like write over the doodles, I'm not sure. Like, it's really cute, and I don't know if I don't know. I might try keeping it by my desk, but I do think I'll probably keep it by my bedside table, because it's kind of like a nice little like looking at it at night and seeing the day or something like that. Like, there's just something kind of fun and chill about that. So we'll see how that goes. But this was just a really cute calendar, and I really wanted to get something from Eric Small Things. I've been following him for a while on Instagram, and he had some stuff at Stationery Fest as well. So that was really cool, and we'll see how this works. I'm not sure. Well, I'm I'm honestly kind of worried about it, but I do really like the packaging. I thought it was really, really cute. So we'll see. So the last little piece of stationery that I have is this cat calendar. And this is like the last 2025 item that I am gonna use for the new year. So this is a calendar designed by Wang, and she is an artist, I believe, based in New York, and she creates a cat calendar every year. So does Talia Bromstad with Bromstad Printing Co. And I just love that it was a risograph calendar, and I love that it was a cat calendar. So there's not many risograph cat calendars out there, and I definitely wanted to get something riso this year. But look, y'all, these months, she's taken such great care. She's been so creative with her calendar months this year. I do think that the spacing is a little small for me to write a ton of stuff, how I was using the other calendar, but I feel like the whimsy and the color and the inspiration for each month really makes up for it. I don't think I'm gonna like cross off the days this year. I do think I will just write in my appointments and stuff. I thought that the Saturday Sunday division was kind of interesting, where she like colors it in, and then it's also double-sided, which is, I like that it doesn't use as much paper, but y'all, it's so cute. It's like, I think this might be one of my favorite spreads, but I feel like all of them are really, really gorgeous spreads. She did a fantastic job this year. It's all super creative, and she uses like a duotone, so very, very inspirational. I definitely got it for the inspo, but then it's also something really cute. But yeah, that's it. That is my 2025 lineup, and it is a little bit all over the place. I do feel like I am wanting to consolidate to one specific planner and one specific journal and call it a day. I do think I still like having a wall calendar because it's kind of fun and inspirational, but we'll see how that goes. And yeah, let me know in the comments, y'all, what y'all enjoyed seeing, if y'all enjoy seeing some of these like stationery videos, what other kinds of videos that you're wanting to see in the new year. I'm kind of just playing this by ear, and we're trying things out. So thank y'all again for being here. I am so excited to just see more of y'all sign up and just kind of interacting with me in the community. And if you want to hear more from me on more of a monthly basis, I do have a newsletter. It goes out about every Thursday, every like third Thursday of the month. I promise it's not spam. It's usually more like updates and when my next markets are. So if you're interested, please click in the link below to subscribe to my newsletter. That will be probably the more frequent communication you'll get from me, other than being on Instagram, but I know not everyone is on Instagram. So definitely my newsletter will be the next best place to find me. So thank y'all again for your time, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.